Recording in 3, 2. All right, it's time to talk with our featured guest, Dr. Jin Do. Jin, how's it going?
Pretty good. We had our first day today, so pretty stressed out, but we did pretty good.
Okay, first day of what?
First day at my brand new office.
Man, okay, so break it down to us. Well, before we break it down on your first day, tell us a little bit about your past, your present. How did you get to where you are today?
Sure, no problem. So I went to UFCD, so University of Florida. I graduated in 2015. I started out after graduating working in a semi-DSO office, and I just stayed there. I thought I was going to be there for 2 years or so, but I ended up being there for 8 years or 7.5 years. But I mean, I learned a lot there, but it was coming to the point where I thought to myself, it's time to leave. It's time to start something off for myself. And here I am.
So 8 years at the DSO office.
Uh-huh.
What made you change your mind where you're like, yeah, this is not going to be forever anymore?
I think it's the burnout. It's we see so many patients every single day. I think in a normal day, I am seeing about 17 to maybe almost 30 patients a day. I mean, give or take. So, but I definitely built my speed. But I'm always on roller skates the whole day. I don't get to eat. I don't even get to go to the bath or anything like that. I mean, in the very beginning, it was great for me because I thought that, you know what, I'm learning a lot. I'm seeing a lot of patients. You know, probably my classmates are not seeing as many patients, and I'm picking up faster than I thought it would, right? But then over time, I realized like I can't be doing this every single day. I'm by the age of, 40 or 50 years old, I'm going to be like, I'm calling it quits. Yeah. And then after a while, I started thinking to myself, do I even like dentistry? But I realized that it's just because I was just burnt out from seeing so many patients.
So you asked yourself, do you even, in those moments, were you like thinking of doing something else already? You're like, you know what, I'm going to do this.
No, I mean, I knew that it was just me being at my lowest of low and asking me a question like that. But honestly, I knew that deep down, I really do love dentistry. I love patient interaction. I love working with my hands and everything like that. I think it's just being that atmosphere, feeling that I wasn't able to just stop and breathe sometimes. That's what got to me. But I mean, overall, my experience at the DDSO was pretty good. I mean, I like I said before, I learned a lot. I was able to hone my skills. So I really don't regret it, but it was just time for me to go.
You never talked to management or anything about like, can I slow down a little bit?
I mean, it's always up to the doctor where I was working. You can definitely slow down and whatnot. But me being also a workaholic as well, so maybe it's my fault. I think maybe it's my fault that I just felt like, okay, maybe I can push myself a little bit harder, and then maybe if I can see more patients and whatnot, and so that's where it left me.
Gotcha. So then from that, where did you, or what systems did you learn where you're like, I love this, I love what I'm learning here, I'm going to take it to my own practice?
Good question. So I liked working in multiple offices or multiple operatories. I was able to be like, hey, I am going to numb you up, go to the next room. Hey, I'm going to do this quick consultation. Hey, I'm going to come back, do this filling. Hey, so it really taught me how to triage patients and to be able to know where I will be in estimated time and where and how long it's going to take me to get back into the room. So that's, yeah.
That was it. That's what I want to take from my practice. What were some things where you noticed besides the burnout where you're like, this is pretty crappy, I don't think I want to do this ever in my practice?
There's so many things. But I think it was the type of patients. I mean, yeah, I think it was the type of patients that were coming through to that DSO. I mean, granted, I do have some patients that I'm going to cherish for the rest of my life, but there were some that were just really mean and didn't really appreciate it. It didn't matter how much you care and how much you give, and you try to explain treatment very thoroughly and whatnot. Sometimes they just yell at you. I think it's just because they just don't understand, or they're not able to comprehend the treatment that you're trying to provide, and they get frustrated and they get mad and they start screaming. So I
Mm,
think that was when I knew that, like, hey, I gotta go.
yeah.
But I
As
would
you're
say, I think I would say about like maybe 20% of my patients were like that.
really,
Yeah.
man, as you're telling me this, I can kind of tell one patient's coming to your mind or a couple. Talk to me
Oh,
about that. Like what specifically, because a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, I'm in exactly her shoes, right? So like what were they?
um, I had one patient when I just knew that that was time for me to leave, was when I don't know, I think she texted me in the middle of the night. I think it was like Friday night at like 10 p.m. during through the emergency hotline. And she was like, "Oh, my temporary fell off." So I think at the time it was me and my husband's 1 year wedding anniversary. So I was
Oh,
actually not even in Orlando. I was in Chicago. We're about to go out for the night for our anniversary. And so when I answered it back, she was like, "I don't care where you're at. You need to come right back and fix this for me. Like, you better do your job. Like, I'm paying you to do this." So she said all these things, and I was like, "Wow, I'm trying my hardest to like give her like a phone number, an address, who to go to the next day and whatnot." And then she just didn't really care. She was just screaming at me and whatnot. And I just knew, I was like, I can't do this anymore. And I
yeah.
something that happened at least once a week.
Really? Once a week? Did,
Hmm.
in that scenario, when it was you were in Chicago, it was your 1 year anniversary. How did you, I guess, like, how did you handle that? You didn't go back, did you? Like immediately, or
What was that?
you didn't go back immediately, right? Like when she asked you,
I
like, you
did.
need to, you did. Oh, you
Oh,
did.
I mean, I didn't fly back. I didn't fly back to Chicago, but I saw her on Monday. So me being me, I'm never going to be me to a patient. I'm just going to
Mhm.
be like, "Hi, Ellen, how are you?" And then, went ahead and put the temporary back on. And that was pretty much it.
Was she upset when she saw you, or?
Actually, she was very snarky. She was like, "Good morning, Dr. Doe," knowing what she said to me. But I don't know. It's like things like that where you have some patients are a little off, and then they treat you like that, and it makes you go, "Nah, I don't know if this is the right environment for me," especially for my mental health.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So the patients for you, besides systems, the patients
Mhm.
kind of like pushed you to this where you want to start your own practice.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I knew that I wanted to give comprehensive care. I knew that I wanted to make sure that patients knew that they were getting taken care of, and that I'm willing to sit there and listen. I wanted to give them my time, everything. Like I said before, I used to see, 15, 17 to 30 patients a day. So sometimes, even if I want to, I wasn't able to sit down and actually build that rapport with a patient. So I just wanted a space where I was like, "Hey, I'm on my own time. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to talk to you about your son's soccer team. And I'm going to, know what you're going to do next week and whatnot. And we're going to talk about when you come back for your billing and whatnot."
Mhm.
So I felt like I was already doing that, but I was always also, 1 foot out of the door trying to see the next patient. So this was going to give me the opportunity to have that relationship with a patient that I've been wanting.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. So can we dive into your business a little bit?
Yeah,
The startup
yeah,
that
of
you have right now? All
course.
right. Is it a startup or acquisition or?
Startup.
Okay. Wow. So did you go with the bank, and who was the bank that you went with for your loan?
I went with Bank of America.
Okay. Why?
So at the time that I was talking to banks, they were giving a 2.99% interest rate, and that was the lowest I could get. So I said, why not?
Yeah. Awesome. How much, or if you can give us a range, how much was the loan for?
It was at 600K, but recently I had to ask for a 50K increase.
Oh, why?
Yeah, so long story short, I had a landlord that he promised me $55 per square foot. So it ended up being a little bit over $126,000. And then he disappeared.
Your landlord
So
disappeared?
he disappeared. Well, I mean, he's actually upstairs from my building, but he won't answer my emails. He won't, I don't know. So it's one of those things where because I didn't get that $126,000, I was now I had to funnel a lot of my own personal funds to pay for the construction. And then I had to ask for the increase from a bank. And then now I have to bring in my attorney to actually write him a letter. Still haven't gotten a response from that. And I think now our next step is actually litigation.
Really? Wow. So when does rent start for you?
Rent started September 1st. So I signed the lease back in November, and we were supposed to be finished by May or June. Let's say it's June. And then we had a lot of construction issues. I think more so it's because of plumbing. My landlord didn't tell me that this space was never meant to plumb anything. I think the only thing that he said to me was like, "Oh, I really don't want you to have a bathroom here." And that's pretty much it. But I didn't know that it was the whole area. I can't have plumbing. So with that being said, the contractor had to find out how to plumb the area. So he had to dig a bunch of holes and trough all throughout the building, realizing, hey, this is not the right direction. Let me go somewhere else. And then whenever he does that, he's going to have to rebuild those areas with new tile and whatnot. Then they found out that the source of the plumbing was actually on the sidewalk outside. So then they had to demo that and then fix it. So that right off the bat, it was $50,000 before we even started.
Wow. And so if you don't know where he's at, rent started in September, how are you paying rent?
So I'm not.
That's
So
good though. I mean, yeah, like
I mean, that's the truth. Like it's he owes me $126,000. Rent is $6,500. I have approached him and I said, hey, can you just deduct from my TI funds? He didn't respond to that. And then he didn't reach out to me about my rent at all. My attorney pulled up his records and then he saw that he actually was sued multiple times throughout this whole year because he wasn't paying the subcontractors. But then once he was served papers, that's when he actually paid.
That's when he got like scared.
Yeah, and that's when he paid. So then I was like, okay, I guess that's the path I have to go toward. But that sucks because now I have to pay for attorney. But luckily, I have a guy that's really awesome, and he's been he sent out those letters for me at no cost, and then he said, hey, if we have to go through litigations, then I would have to charge, which it is what it is. I just can't do anything about it now. I definitely need that TI funds.
Yeah. What's his name? Your attorney?
Greg Mahonen.
Okay. He specializes in this specifically or no?
So I got his name off from my broker.
Okay. Nice. Okay. So how did you find this location?
So I went through Car Realty. So I worked with Kobe and Kern, and they showed me a multiple offices. I told them I was like, hey, I really want something modern and then in a really good spot with like affluent patients. And then they showed me maybe like 2 or 3 places. And once I saw this, I was like, I love it. I gotta get in it.
Yeah, you got it. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So then how many ops is it?
There are 6 ops, but I'm starting with 3.
Okay. And it's what type of practice is it? Are you doing fee for service immediately or PPO or is it pediatric or?
PPO in the very beginning. I think we're seeing about maybe 10 to 12 different types of PPOs.
Okay, nice. I feel like it's your first day, but I feel like a lot of the headache has been, you know what I mean? Because of I mean, that's your landlord, you know what I mean? You want to be cool with him,
I
but
know. I mean, I'm still cool with them because I feel like no matter what, I'll be nice and whatnot. But I think that's, well, unfortunately, that's what we just got to do now.
yeah. Were there any construction delays, like major ones?
Yes. So, like I said before, we're supposed to finish in July, and
Mhm.
we just opened today. So, so yeah, it was a big delay, and a lot of it was my contractors too, because they had a lot of turnover rate. And I think that if I had to go back, I probably wouldn't use the same contractors,
Hmm.
just because whenever someone will quit, like let's say I had a project manager that quit, and when he quit, he didn't tell anyone all the things that I wanted to be changed inside the plans. So then, and then I had to pay for certain things that I didn't want. And then all of a sudden, the superintendent quit as well. So then, whenever someone would quit, someone would replace them, and then they would, get flustered because they're trying to pick up the pieces and whatnot. So I think there was at least maybe 2 or 3 months where I wasn't getting a response at all, and it was a very big headache.
When or how many times were you like, I don't think I want to do this anymore?
At least in the only times. I feel like I kept saying to myself, I can't believe I'm doing this. I
Mhm.
mean, I have 2 full-time jobs right now. I'm working my associateship 40 hours a week, and then I'm going home and I am making phone calls, talking to vendors. And luckily, these vendors were, in California, so I was able to talk to them at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at nighttime, when but that's what I did. I worked from 7 to sometimes to 8 to 9 p.m. every single day for the past, I don't know, eight to 10 months.
Man. And so, I mean, talk about like you didn't want to burn out before. Now you're
I
like, yeah.
exactly.
Did you feel it? Were you feeling it? Like you're like, I'm burning out here.
Yeah, I did, but I felt like I had a really good support system. I have a lot of friends, and my husband that was always with me, that he was able to pick up small little pieces where I just couldn't do, just because I was burning myself out.
Yeah. That's tough. Yeah. That's a lot. And so then how many employees do you have?
So as of right now, I have 2.5.
The half
Yeah,
is
a 2.5 because one girl, she comes only 2 days a week. We actually had one girl that worked for an hour, I mean, one day and 2 hours, and then bounced on us, and she hasn't responded.
do you did it look, why do you think she bounced? Was it why?
Um, so she told me that she worked in a medical office, not a dental office, but a medical office, and she
Mhm.
did that for 3 years. And she said that, yeah, I mean, it's definitely easy. I know how to send claims, and I love answering phones and whatnot, so it shouldn't be a big difference. So the day that she started, I was like, hey, you know what? You can just sit here and just watch a lot of open dental tutorials and whatnot. If you have any questions, let me know. Me and my staff members, we know everything about dentistry. So if you have any questions, just let us know. We're right here for you. The first day, didn't really talk to us,
Mm.
just watching videos. And then the next day, she was only here for like 2 hours. And then all of a sudden she goes, hey dog, my son, he just fell and he busted a lip. I just gotta go. And then she just ran out, and I haven't heard from her since then. And that was on Monday.
Really? And every day you're like messaging her and stuff like that or no? Like, hey, where
Yeah.
you at?
I texted her that day, and I was like, hey, just checking in. What happened? And then nothing. Called her next day, nothing. So I think she probably felt overwhelmed and then she just bounced.
If in a week from now she comes back, or in a couple of days, would you be like, okay, welcome back? Or are you going to be like, no?
I don't think so, just because I think that would send the wrong message to my other staff members that you can do whatever you want. You can disappear for a week or days without giving any acknowledgement why you left, and then come back with no repercussions.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, 100%. How many days are you open?
I'm open for 5 days.
Are you still doing your other associateship?
So I actually finished off yesterday. So
Okay.
yesterday, yeah, so I was training my staff members in the morning time. I left the office for 3 hours to finish some final cases, and then I came back to train more.
Nice. Okay. So
Yeah,
then now today's been your full. Okay. And really quick, what's the name of your practice?
Illume Dental Studio.
Illume Dental Studio. So who right now, what are you doing for marketing and advertising?
So for marketing, I am doing a lot of the social media by myself. So Instagram, on Facebook, and whatnot. Marketing, I am using a group where Andrew Vallo, when he did your podcast, I actually listened to that, and then I messaged him. I was like, "Who are you using?" So then he got me on hold with the person that he's using, and they've been good. I mean, let's see, let me pull up my open dental right now.
Who was,
They,
did he say on that episode who he was using or no?
he did not.
Can I ask you?
Only if you message me.
Okay. Okay. So if you guys want to know, message Jen. But okay, pull up your open ending.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. So for open dental, they put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 patients on my schedule today. And then yesterday they put 1, 2, 3. I mean, not yesterday. I'm sorry. Tomorrow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They put 10 patients on my schedule for tomorrow.
It's gonna be,
Yeah.
it's good. It's going okay. So you're using that company, you're doing social media on your own. Anything else or
Uh,
no?
no, that's pretty much it. So whenever I am on Instagram, I try to be very engaging. I comment other people's Instagrams, especially all the businesses around my area, just so that they know that I'm around and I'm opening. And then yeah, that's pretty much what all I've been doing.
Okay,
And
nice.
I've been doing ground marketing as well. So in my community where my office is, they do a like a monthly event. So I've done 2 marketing events called the Taste of Baldwin Park. Essentially what it is it's just I think like 15, 20 booths of all these restaurants and businesses inside the neighborhood. So you get to, so all the residents will come, they eat for free, they drink for free, and they get to meet all the businesses. So it was pretty awesome. I think the first time I did it, I got about 60 names of, like names, phone numbers, emails, and that they wanted to make an appointment. And then the second time I got 50 names off of that. So now today we actually went down the line and started calling these patients.
How long ago did you get these names?
So my first event was in May, and then my second event was, I think, like 3 weeks ago.
In May, 7 months ago?
Yeah, because remember I thought that I
Yeah,
was gonna
okay.
open.
Yeah. I was like, Jin, that's
Yeah,
so early. But no, I
yeah.
get you.
I was gonna open in July, so I was like, yeah, let me do this May one and let everyone know I'm gonna open in 2 months. No,
Mhm.
I did not open. But
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people that stopped at my booth, they're like, hey, are you open yet? I'm like, no, but we are definitely gonna open soon. Okay, December 1st, December 1st. So when I went back to my contractors, I was like, oh my God, we have to open December 1st. I already told everyone, like, we can't mess this up now.
Yeah. No, it's 100%. It's December 1st. So today has been your first official day.
Mhm.
How, how, how are you? Okay, because you're in East Coast time and you're doing this at 5, 6, 7, 8. It's 8 over there right now, right? 8
Yes.
p.m. Thank you, by the way, for staying on and still being on the doing this.
office right now.
Yeah, you're still in your office. How
Yeah.
has it been feeling? Like, how do you feel right now?
Um, I actually feel really happy, even though it's been stressful and I feel that I have a lot on my plate. Because every single time my assistants find something, they're like, oh, hey, doc, I really need a clipboard. Like, oh, hey, doc, for some reason, the insurances are not inputting correctly. I'm like, okay, I'm going to put that on my to do list.
Mhm.
So now I have like a to do list of like 30 things to do tonight before I go to bed. But with that being said, I don't feel that stress. And I think it's because this is my baby now. I'm working towards my dreams.
Yeah, like this is it. Like you're allocating more and more, I guess, investments in it, right? I,
Exactly.
I like that. I like that a lot. What were some things where you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that today, or I didn't even do this, or like, what were some major stressors?
Um, I think it was a business license. I had no idea that when you open up a business, you need to talk to the city about it to get a business license. My brother briefly told me about it because he's an optometrist and he has his own private practice. And then he said it's called business license or occupational license. So I was like, I got that. I have a dental license, thinking it's the exact same thing, but it's not. So then once we got the CO saying that, hey, we're done with construction, I realized, and then I was I think I was doing payroll or sign up for that. I forgot what I was signing up for, but then they asked me for my business license. And I realized then, I was like, no, it's not the same thing as a dental license. Now I had to go to City of Orlando, get that taken care of. And then after that, I had to get a county license as well. So that was a very big stressor. But luckily, I had a great husband. He went out actually to the office of City of Orlando and got it all taken care of for me
Okay, today.
yesterday.
Oh,
Yeah. All
man.
yesterday, he was at the City of Orlando office and he was like, we need this tomorrow. We need it. So
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
yeah.
That's really good. Okay, so then that's with that. I know before we pushed record, you were talking about how like open dental, right? I want to say you're
Mhm.
using. It's
Yeah.
been a bit of a headache.
Um, yeah. It's just because for the past 8 years, I've been using Dentrix. So I've never even seen open dental in my whole entire life. So now it's just trying to switch gears and then learn the new, the new system for that. But it seems pretty easy, and I actually really like the customer service because they're readily available. You can actually click on help, go to support. You can talk to someone, and then if they can't figure it out, they'll someone immediately calls you, and then they remote in and then fix it whatever you're asking for. So it's awesome. I love it.
Why'd you decide to go with open dental?
Um, the making of demo startup.
Okay,
Everyone said it was the best, so I was like, okay, I'll do that.
gotcha, gotcha. Because I know a lot of people
Yeah.
are doing open dental or their cloud software, right? Other cloud. It's up to you, but I mean, I was wondering why you decided to go with them.
Yeah, I think it's also because I started out talking to vendors, and I asked them like, okay, so what will be easy for you? Like, what software do you use a lot? And I think the majority of them said we love Open Dental.
Hmm.
It's easy to integrate with them. And I was like, okay, it is what it is. Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. In day
Mhm.
one so far, have you seen things where you're like, okay, this has to change. This is gonna have to change, kind of thing.
So with my marketing group, I think we're doing free consultations first, just to drive people inside the door,
Mhm.
which is it's wonderful because now I have patients on my schedule. But I think it's just trying to take a lot of X-rays, talk about everything during the consultation. So I realized that it just has to be nice and short. Take a look at the panel and be like, hey, you have 4 teeth that needs to be extracted. Let's talk about that and how important it is to get those out for your health. And then once you're done with that, come back to us. We do a complete examination. We'll diagnose what type of cleaning you have and get you back on track. So I think that's what we were struggling with in the first half of the day, and then falling a little bit behind. But then after lunch, and then we came back, and then we changed gears, and then we did it that way. We were on time for everything.
It was really good. Nice. Okay.
Mhm.
When it comes to the systems that you've implemented right now,
Uh-huh.
Or maybe you're like, you have insight and you're like, I'm going to foresee we're going to have to put this system in here. What would you say they're unique? What systems are unique in your practice that make your practice you?
Um, so are you talking about like the vendors that I'm using, like Casper, Dark Horse, or are you just talking about my day to day?
Your day to day.
Okay. So day to day, what makes us unique is that we are trying to implement spa amenities.
Hmm.
So we, with Casper, I love Casper, by the way, because they let me have patients schedule appointments on my website. So it's less people calling in. And then they're able to make those appointments. And then right then, all the forms are sent to them via text. And then the patient can fill it out, and all those forms will be integrated into Open Dental. With that being said, one of the forms is called the spa form. So it says, hey, so what would you like to drink today? And then they have an option of water, hot tea, coffee. And how would you like for us to set up your suite? And it says aromatherapy scents, a blanket, a cooling neck pillow, a heated neck pillow. You want Netflix and chill and with a noise canceling headphones. Or if you decide to be quiet, or if you want alone time, we also have a heated eye mask and then earplugs as well. And then we also write a note on the bottom that each dental chair has a massage function to it. Please enjoy. So I think with that being said, the patients go, oh my God, like, what am I signing up for? This is awesome. Because not a lot of dental offices do that. So then I train my staff members that, hey, this is what I want every single time before a patient comes in. I want you to look at the spa form, make sure that everything is already set up inside the room for them. And then once they walk in, they see a screen at the 12 o'clock toe saying, welcome, Justin. This suite was made just for you. And then they walk in, they see their blankets and the remote control, the headphones and everything like that. And I think it's just a small little touch. Doesn't take a lot from us, but it makes the patient feel very special.
Yeah. And it's those like details, right? I think I remember Dr. Paul Etchison talking about that, where he's like, these things is what they're going to talk about. Not like, oh my God, it's so great, this crown. You know what I mean? It's more like, unless they're in pain. But that sounds amazing. Like what type of dental chairs do you have?
Forest.
Forest. Okay.
Mhm.
Wow. That's really, how much were they?
Oh gosh, I think $6,000 or $7,000. I'm not too sure about that, but I think it was just additional cost for that massage, and I felt that it was worth it because
Yeah.
it's something that people would talk about, you know.
Yeah. We're talking about it right now. Like people will talk
Yeah.
about it. Like it is really, really nice. Okay. So the first day in the books, it's going good so far. Do you feel like this is going to be something great, or do you feel something like what is the vision, I guess, 10 years from now?
I feel like it's going to be amazing. I already have thoughts in my mind that, hey, by year 5, I want another office. And that's my goal. Yeah, my goal is that I'm gonna go in another community in Orlando, has, like an affluent area, and then build another office there. So I can definitely see myself growing and then having my husband come in and start working for us as like an office manager or like a regional manager. And this, and because the person that you could trust the most is like your spouse, right? And then that that they're taking care of you and your office, and that they only have um the thoughts of whatever is best for you in their
Yeah.
mind.
Good
Yeah,
intentions. So
it's
another
good thing.
practice, another practice. Why?
Um, I feel like we have something good going. I feel like it's something that, it's not done a lot, and I feel that we could definitely make this a big thing.
What's your guys' mission statement?
Oh, it's redefining your dental experience.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
So in the end, if I'm a patient, I walk through the whole patient journey, I become your patient. it's my first visit. Now I'm sitting with my family or friends, and they're like, "Hey, how was your? Hey, you went to the dentist?" Or I just tell them like, "Hey, I went to the dentist." It was. What do you want them to say?
I want them to say it was amazing. Like I never expected for a dental office to be like this. I always thought to myself, I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna go. It's another chore that I gotta do, and it's gonna hurt me, yada yada. But no, actually the experience was really pleasant. They made sure that I felt great. They made sure that I felt heard. And then they were able to resolve all the issues that I need within one visit. And if
Mhm.
they couldn't, they knew where to send me in order to get my issue fixed.
Mhm. Gotcha. Okay, that's interesting. Throughout this process, Jin, from I guess the moment you decided to, let's talk about from the moment you felt the burnout in your associates, that
Mhm.
moment, all the way to today, what's been some of the biggest pitfalls, your struggles, your fails you've experienced?
Um, I think it was construction for sure. It's the construction and the lack of communication. I think
Mhm.
the construction lingo, it was I in dentistry where when a patient doesn't understand something, you say, like, let's say for instance, you don't say pulp, you say the nerve inside your tooth. Or sometimes you don't say a crown, you say the cap that you place on the tooth, just so that the patient understands what you're trying to tell them.
Mhm.
I felt like my contractors didn't really do that. They said all these things and then, or they just assumed that I would know. And I think from there was a lot of miscommunications. Things were done that unnecessary, yada, yada. And I think that overall was the big stressor for me.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. And then I think also I'm not really tech savvy. So, um, but I mean, I love Dark Horse. So, hands down, they've been so awesome. So even though I felt that that was one thing that I was going to struggle a lot with, I felt that they've been taking care of me 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. Ruben's pretty amazing. He's a good guy.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really
Yeah.
good. Okay. So it's been like the construction phase where you feel like this has been, so that's where you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. That's
Yeah.
where you had the more of the times.
I think it's realizing how much everything will cost, right? Like they keep sending you change orders going, hey, we found that this needs to be fixed now. It wasn't a part of the original plans. That'll be $5,000. And then next day they were like, oh yeah, there's this fire rated wall that wasn't done by your landlord. That's going to be $15,000. And then we're going to tack that. So that's why we ended up going way over budget. I think we originally construction was supposed to be $376,000, but then it ended up costing 100K more because first of all, the plumbing was $50,000 right off the bat of issues, and then the other 50 was other things that came up along the way. So I definitely, if I could tell myself or give myself an advice, is saying, hey, you need to save up a lot of money because you may have to spend your personal funds for this. Luckily, we did, but not many people would even think that because sometimes when you talk to banks, they're like, oh, yeah, we fund you everything. But
Mhm.
sometimes you just can't get it fast enough.
Yeah. Because I think they
Or
like
you have,
allocate it.
yeah, or you have a landlord that doesn't pay your TI funds.
I know it's gonna be interesting to hear about that. How has this all affected your personal life?
Um, I'm definitely here a lot. So we open at 8:30 for patients, but I'm already here by like 7 o'clock just to make sure that everything's nice. And we close at 4:30, but I'm still sitting here at the office right now and it's 8:15 p.m. But I mean, the past few days my husband and I were here from like 9 o'clock, 10 p.m., trying to make sure that everything was running smoothly and our to-do list, the things that our staff members were telling us to do were done to be completed for the next day for them. So but yeah, but luckily I have really good friends. I mean, they are very understanding. I have family members that are very understanding. I still see them on the weekends and whatnot, but definitely weekdays are a no-go. We're always working now.
Yeah, man. Okay, awesome. So any last piece of advice you want to give to someone who's thinking about doing a startup in your shoes, maybe like a little bit before you start up? Any advice you want to give them?
Well, actually, last summer, this is what I did. I actually listened to you, and then I listened to the making of the demo startup, and that's how I said to myself, I can't do this, because I realized that all these people are my age, and I don't know why I was so scared. I don't know why I was like saying to myself, oh, I can't do this. That's just way too much work. But honestly, all you gotta do is just take that one step and just do it. Just call up a couple of offices, or actually, I'm sorry, call a couple of banks, or just find yourself a broker. Get them to show you the spaces. And that's actually when it becomes real for you, that you're like, oh my God, this could be mine. And I think once you get over that one little hurdle, it ends up going by a lot faster than you think. So even though when I was going through a process and I felt that it was this whole year was a drag, now looking back, I'm like, it wasn't that bad.
Like, it wasn't that bad. No, but
I
yeah. No, that's good. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for listening too.
yeah.
I'll Venmo you the $10 that I told you I would pay you when you to say that. I'm just kidding. But no, awesome, wonderful. So Jen, thank you so much for being with us. I know it's late over there, so I don't want to take up too much of your time, but thank you so much for being with us. It was a pleasure. But before we
No,
say goodbye, can you tell our listeners where they can find you?
yeah. So you can find me on Instagram at Illume Dental Studio. And my website is www.illumedentalstudio.com. And you can find me through Facebook with the same name as well.
Awesome. So guys, that's going to be in the show notes below. And Jen, thank you so much for being with us. It was a pleasure, and we'll hear from you soon.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much. It was an honor.